amazing. All right. Well, I've hit record, so we'll go. So, ladies and gents, welcome back to another episode of the Off Air Voiceover Podcast. My name, of course, is Michael.
And I'm Jen.
And, well, you'll have seen the thumbnail at this point, so we have an incredibly special guest on with us today. A man who really doesn't need that much of an introduction. Well known in the gaming world, being part of brands such as Medal of Honor, Dead Space, Call of Duty, and of course, most notable, the voice of the one and only Leon S. Kennedy from Resident Evil. Mr. Nick Apostolides, how are you doing, sir?
You got it. Good pronunciation. Hey.
As I started saying it, I was like, I thought, as I'm saying it, I think I'm going to lose it.
I was secretly hoping you were going to fuck that one up, but because I just told you. But anyways, hi guys. Thank you for having me. Yes, and hi everyone.
It's awesome.
Listening.
Yeah, well, like I said before, just before we hit record, yeah, just thank that you are one busy guy, and you've been on so many different things, and obviously since the game RE9 came out, obviously like there's just been like craziness. So yeah, so obviously you're a busy guy, and I really appreciate you taking the time to chat to us. Yeah, it has been madness. Yeah, and we'll get into that a little bit because we sort of like to know what the madness is like from your perspective in terms of just being like in the moment. You know what I mean? So I want to try and I've got a couple of questions about that. I'll get to later on. So I know I've done a little bit of an introduction there, and I've probably missed a couple of bits out because it's not just the gaming industry that you are. I mean, I know that's what you're quite synonymous with now, but it didn't quite start that way, did it? Like before, you were doing commercials and stuff. In fact, I saw before you did a video with Killswitch Engage.
Oh, you a fan of the band?
I very much am. Yeah. This Fire Burns is one of my favourite tunes.
For those people who don't know what it is, please explain it, Nick, because I am more ignorant.
Killswitch Engage is it's an American rock band. They probably formed about maybe 20-something years ago, and great band. And I was offered the opportunity to be in one of their music videos because my good buddy Mike Pesci and Ian McFarland, they were connected with the guys, and they wanted to make their music videos. And so they said, Nick, I think you'd be good for one of these. And we just it's really fun. We just took a trip up the west coast of America, up the PCH, and just drove up all the side of California and just shot in random places, random bars in Santa Cruz and in San Francisco and stuff. And we just created a story out of kind of one little passion. And then the video came out really well. And, you know, to this day, that came out about like 12 years ago. That video still, if you read the comments, it's a really powerful video. You've probably seen it, Mike, right? Can I call you Mike? Michael? Mike?
Whichever you prefer, either's fine.
But it's an emotional video, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I want to see it now. Definitely have to look it up.
Yeah, it's good.
No, it's a good story and really cool song.
Yeah, I didn't realise. So yeah, it was just some of the things when you go on a bit of a deep dive. I was like, oh shit, didn't realise. And yeah, so just before we get into like some of the stuff on screen stuff you did, so you weren't. This wasn't like your background, was it? Like the entertainment and stuff. Like you just had a regular job and you switched careers.
I've had a lot of careers. I've worked in so many. I've worked in like I think maybe seven different industries, maybe 8 at this point, and that was all before I was 26. I just floated around. I had a lot of jobs. I started working when I was 14. I didn't even start acting until I was 26, and I didn't get really serious about it until I was about 29, 30. But yeah, commercials.
That machine is for chartreuse members only, but you can't do push-ups on this premier carpeted floor.
I heard I get free yoga classes.
Sorry, not at this gym, but we will be upgrading to yoga by 2019. Up top. All right.
Commercials, voiceover stuff, stunts, action actor type stuff on camera. Where I started, but then I got into voiceover. But before that, I have like 25 years experience in the trades. I'm a professional painter. I'm a carpenter. I do woodwork.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
I actually noticed one thing I wanted
fixes.
to mention. You like your pencil art. My missus, she loves her pencil art as well. She's got stuff on the walls. It's impressive stuff.
Yeah, I just got into a lot of stuff when I was a kid, and you know, it was never a waste because when I became an actor, I realized I could relate to a lot of different types of people, right?
Yeah.
I've worked in doctors' offices. I've worked in gas stations, and when you have these different industries that you're a part of, you get to know different types of people, different walks of life,
Yeah.
and you can relate to a lot on camera. Or if you're playing an actor or a character, you read a little breakdown. It's like, oh, this guy is he's a plumber. And I'm like, hey, I can relate to that.
I think that's a really good point, actually. And I think a lot of voice actors and actors, obviously, they've got other jobs or things they're doing as well. And I think it's kind of seeing that as a benefit. That doesn't always have to be a negative. That's actually can be really valuable.
Yeah, if you've
Absolutely.
got if you've got like some life skills and you've got experience working with different people, different characteristics, different personalities, you can draw off some of those.
Yeah.
And you can sort of apply some relatability to it.
I mean, you're both actors. You're both actors, and I'm sure you observe, right? You look at different people,
gosh,
and it's interesting. It's fascinating.
Yeah.
I don't know. I could go down a rabbit hole on that stuff, but we don't have to.
No, go for it. If you've got something to say about it, go for it.
I'm just saying. I just really think it's interesting. I could people watch all day. I could sit and sip a coffee on a boardwalk or something and just watch people walk by, watch people interact, and I always liked that. Like as a kid, I couldn't explain why, but I just liked to do it. And then as I get older and now in this career, I'm like, oh, that actually helped and helps you become different characters.
Yeah, I totally agree. Me and one of my best mates, we used to get a coffee. We're going to Manchester city centre, and we just literally get a coffee, sit on a bench, and we'd move locations. Like you'd find a spot where it's like, it's not as good here anymore. So you'd go somewhere else, like maybe a train station or to a different park or something. It's like
commitment to the people watching.
It was commitment.
That is
like
commitment.
Professionals.
Yeah.
So,
and I think as well, like if you saw some of the characters you see in real life, like on TV, you'd be like, nah, that's such a, caricature. But actually people are crazier than, you do see on screen.
Yeah. And it's funny that the one character that I play is, this that I'm famous for is Leon. And he's such a suave badass with funny one line. That's nothing like who I am. Maybe in my mind, I was a lot cooler than I actually was when I was a kid, but, I'm just playing out a fantasy, right?
I do have a question. When's the last time you brushed your teeth?
So that transition you did from, so we're about 26 years old, I think you said it was, then you decided to get into acting. So where did that come from? Like, what is that something that you always wanted to do when you were a kid and you just sort of tried to find the moment, or how did that come from?
I would say that was like just in the back of the mind passion when I was a kid. You're watching like Indiana Jones, you're growing up with these action movies, and it wasn't more than a thought of like, wow, that would be cool one day. But it was not my life's passion. When people would ask me when I was a kid what I wanted to do, I would say an architect. I wanted to be an architect. I wanted to build. That was my answer until I was maybe 15. Then I didn't know what I wanted to do for quite some time. But then, years and years and years later, it was actually working in hospitality. I was working in a really nice hotel in Boston, Massachusetts, and I was on this club level. I was a concierge, and it was my job to talk with people all day and make them comfortable, set them up with a nice weekend, make sure they had a good stay in Boston. That was my job. And I got close with a lot of people, and there's a phrase, I don't know if you've ever heard this, but when three strangers tell you something, that is the universe trying to nudge you in a direction. You ever hear that?
I
No,
haven't
but I
heard
like
that. Yeah, it makes sense.
Okay, so it does kind of make sense. And so anyways, I always knew that. And I got about maybe like 40 to 50 people would talk to me at the hotel, people that I knew, people I didn't know. And they would say, have you ever tried acting? Or they would ask me if I was an actor.
Really?
And it was just time and time again. And I started to get curious, and my answer was always no. And I would say, well, why do you say that? Why do you say that? And they said, because you have very honest eyes, and that's acting. It's all in the eyes. And they said, you should try
That's
acting.
incredible.
Yeah. And so it was actually random people that nudged me to try it out. And so Boston, Massachusetts is a college town. There's a lot of little, student film programs, tight-knit film community. And I started getting involved in student films, in the independent film scene. I was auditioning for these little tiny roles that didn't pay any money, but I was booking. And I said, hey, maybe this is an avenue. And 3 years later, I moved to Los Angeles and got serious about it.
Wow. You just mentioned something there that I think is important, that sometimes we have this narrative where some people say that, obviously with any kind of work you want to try and do, sometimes you get jobs that are like, you feel like being lowballed on the fee. And I remember when I was starting out, there were some jobs where I was getting lowballed. It was largely because maybe I was a bit inexperienced. And there were some jobs which I did free of charge because I was like, the experience of being involved in the studio, in the production, in the process, that is almost invaluable.
Sometimes you
And,
need it, you know?
Absolutely. And that's what I'm saying. When you're saying doing some of these productions, you don't get paid for it, but what you get in return is something you can present to someone and go, this is what I'm capable of. And that's not something that's easy to come by.
It's not, but honestly, like I see it that way 100%. The first audition I ever had for a student film, I booked it. It was this really small film, no money, but they gave me a leather jacket and a gun, and I was a detective. And that showed me that gave me a confidence boost to be like, wow, maybe, you know, I might be able to do this. And then, you know, years and years of grinding and effort, you look back and you're like, if I didn't accept that role because it didn't pay me $50, I might not be here today. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's so true. It really is so true. And I mean, you have to. There are some people that can be exploitative. You've got to be careful of those. But in general, I do think take the opportunities that you can get.
Yeah.
I won't go into the full story because I've said it a few times on the pod. But my very first audio drama, I had to go to London for it. It was one hell of an experience. I think they paid my train fare. And at the time, people were like, you shouldn't be going all that way. It's going to cost you way more in train fare. Well, they weren't paying the whole fare. They were paying like a subsidised amount. And I was being told at the time, I was new, I had a partner at the time. She's like, she didn't get it. She was like, why are you spending more money on rail fare to go to a job? You're losing money. I was like, you don't get it. Like, I'm going to a studio. I'm doing audio drama, which is what I want to do. And it's all an experience. And I learned so much on that day just from... like how mistakes can happen, etiquette, and all these different things. I learned loads. Yes, I lost money on the day, but that's completely irrelevant.
But I think
like
as
you said,
well, it's working with other creatives. Sorry, Nick. I think it's like if someone's desperate to make something and you're like, actually, I do want to help this other creative out because I think we're in this together, aren't we? And I think there's something really nice about that.
Oh, passion projects are fun. I mean, I love all that stuff. And like you said, I'm not telling everyone to go do free work all the time, but it's not so different than an apprenticeship. You know, people train under an expert for years without pay to become a master. It's like, hey, I don't know. It's like, you know, to each his own.
Yeah.
So, from doing the on-screen stuff, like, because you do a lot of motion capture as well, don't you?
Oh, that
so what came first? Was it?
We
sorry,
didn't hear it.
I think my phone is dinging off. All right, I'm good. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No, you're okay. So, no, what I was just curious was, because you were doing a lot of stuff on screen and having that experience, what kind of, like, where did the transition into the gaming industry come? And because I know you do a lot of motion capture, what kind of came first? Did you get involved in mocap because of your experience behind the camera, or did you go
and did you do stunts with that as well? Definitely want to know more.
Yeah, my story and my transition into video games is really like kind of, I want to say a lucky one. I don't know if that's the word, but I was an action actor. So when I started acting on film and TV, I was immediately cast as these boyfriend type roles, the guy next door, and I was getting kind of bored of that stuff. And I didn't want that to be my direction because I grew up with the action movies. And I said, hey, let's start doing some action films. And so it was my buddies James and Travis from 10th Gate Productions. Early on, they put me in a couple action movies, independent stuff, very low budget, but really fun and really creative. And they taught me they taught me some combat. They taught me how to move with firearms. We did a lot of drills, and it's actually those guys who taught me how to move with weaponry. And then I started training from there. But they showed me at an early stage that I could be that action guy. And then I was pursuing that hard in independent stuff, low budget stuff. But what it gave me was footage, reels, demos, proof that I can do that stuff, and confidence. You can't put a price on confidence when you're going up for these big roles. And the first video game I ever auditioned for was Resident Evil 2 Remake. And half of that audition, and it was long, was physicality. They want to see how you walk, crouch, run, draw your weapon, shoot zombies, kick down doors, tumble. It was all like physical stuff, and they want to make sure I can move like a young cop. If I did not have that physical training, I would not have booked that role. And
Wow.
It's that's why I never knock the small stuff, the independent stuff. I don't frown upon anything. Passion projects got me the experience and the confidence I need to compete in a town like LA. There's a lot of people here.
Yeah, I think that's so true. Like, I think you need all these. They're all building blocks, and like you said,
They're all, yeah.
If you get this pivotal moment, like an opportunity to be one of the main characters of such a huge franchise so early into your process of trying to get into all that sort of stuff, having that stuff behind you, was just absolutely pivotal towards all that experience that you can bring to the table. I was thinking actually as well, it's ever so slightly unrelated, but in a slight way. Have you seen the film Heat with De Niro?
Yeah, of course.
So the scene in the street where they're all shooting, Val Kilmer, apparently he trained so hard with the process of changing the clips in his gun that I read, and I'm not sure how true this is, but apparently it is, but he got it down so well. He practiced and practiced and practiced, and the realism of it became so realistic and authentic that they still use that as part of the training in the military of how he does it, which I find quite astounding. You got an actor who's learning how you do something through repetition, you produce it on film, and it's so good that not only did the audience buy into it, then you got the military going, watch this guy, this is how how good it can be done. So I think just learning the ropes, practicing, you then get on a stage, you've got all that behind you, and it obviously helps you land a role, which I am keen to know. So because it all feels
Before
like
we move on 1 second, Michael, sorry to interrupt. Have you done anything like that? Have you done any firearm trainings, Mikey?
Me?
Yeah.
When I was in school, I did. Yeah, we had. I was in the military cadets at school. We used to shoot these they're called .22 rifles. They were like really old school.
Yeah.
But that's it in terms of like no, in terms of our industry. No, I've not done like that sort of training. But me and Jen did performance capture about 2 years ago.
Oh,
and,
great!
We went to this university in Manchester, and we had to do this scene where it was like we were brother and sister in the midst of like a zombie attack, and the scene where we were doing was like we were running away from it and going into a cabin. And I think at the time I was trying to like lose a bit of weight, and obviously I think when you're trying to do performance capture, there's a lot of mobility that you need and a lot of physicality. And there was a bit where you had to like pretend you were running, and then as you're running, you kick down this fictitious door. You run in, you run back, and you slam the door behind you. There's nothing there. It's all make believe. But the guy's like, you need to be panting really hard to make it believable. I was like, don't worry, no problem.
That's real.
There was so much.
Yeah.
This is as real as it gets. There was so much of it.
Method.
It was like,
You got a proper method on that, didn't you?
yeah, absolutely.
No zombies.
You should have won the Oscar for that, Michael. Was that for training, or was that a job that you guys were working?
Yeah, it's for training.
Yeah.
Well, it was a job, but it's for training for animation students. We did it a couple of times.
That's fun.
Yeah, it was really, it was
called
fun.
us into like, it was wicked. Like, and once you do something like that, it really does set like the bug. You want to do more of it. And I would actually I live in France now, so it's a bit more tricky for me to go to like classes and stuff. But I did before I moved. One of the plans was to like go to schools where you can do your more performance capture training, do the practice with the guns, etc. So you look more realistic and you know what you're doing.
It does feel like it's such a big genre that it is very useful to have those skills. But you've got to be able to do it well, I suppose, to do it.
All kinds of skills. I would say to anyone listening, to even you guys, any kind of physical skills help. Just even yoga, flexibility, moving, running, dancing, stage combat, medieval weapons or contemporary, like firearms. Like, it all helps because you never know what a game is going to want. I once lost out on a job because I didn't have a lot of broadsword training. Right? I can do some broadsword stuff, but I'm not an expert, and I didn't have it then. And because I wasn't ready and I couldn't do that, I lost out on the job. So it happens.
But you have it now because of that.
Well, I did some training. I would say I'm novice. We'll say that. I'm not an expert.
I did actually hear one thing that I heard you say on a previous interview was that accent work is not like your forte. Like, you can do it with some training, but in general, it doesn't just roll off the tongue.
It doesn't, no.
I can't say how much relief I heard when you said that, because I'm exactly the same. If I really try and study and work on the accent, I can do it. But one of the issues I had with trying to get work in gaming was because we had a lot of casting directors on for our last season. And one thing we were hearing quite a lot was you need to be quite versatile. Like, so if you're in the booth, we may say, okay, you've read for your character, but can you just do these 2 or 3 NPCs and mix them up so they're all, they all sound different? And I was like, man, I'm really going to struggle with that because that's not really my strength area. And some people said, like, I did a gaming reel recently, and they said, look, just stick to your strengths. Like, I like doing that lower register stuff, a bit more gritty, a bit more dramatic. So we focused on that. But when I heard you, but that's one thing that's always played in the back of my mind, like not being able to do that range of accents, just bang, go. But when I heard you say that, I did take some solace in it, because obviously you have been incredibly successful. So when you said that, it goes to show that if you are good at what you do, that is still the most important thing, I reckon.
Hey, look at Mark Wahlberg. He plays Mark Wahlberg in every movie he's ever been in. He's successful. Yeah. I mean, he's not a chameleon. You don't.
No.
I mean, range helps. Range is a useful tool, but it's not a deal breaker in the industry. You can book work being the best version of you. Someone gave me. I was nervous going into the Resident Evil 2 remake audition, and I reached out to a friend of mine, and I had confidence in what I can do, but I wasn't sure how high my chances were of booking a role like this big, because I didn't have motion capture experience on my resume, and I didn't have theater experience on the resume, and that's what they were looking for. And she told me a piece of advice that I'll never forget, and this is good for video games, for people to know if you're trying to get into it. She said, video games are like the wild, wild west. It's not like Hollywood, where they're casting the up-and-coming stars. Video games, if you are right for the role, if your essence is right for the character, you can book this role, Nick, is what she told me. And she said, show them that your essence is right for the character. And I did. And I never forgot that. And so, you can be, there's only one of you, and you might be the vision for the developer company, be like, yeah, that's our guy, or that's our girl, So trust that. Trust yourself.
That's
wonderful.
It's
very well said. It's a really good point. I do think as well, like, I suppose in this day and age now, when you've got, like, I don't know, people who's getting their knickers in the twist about AI and all that sort of stuff, and I think that furor has died down a bit now. But definitely what's come in its place is this big thing about authenticity, relatability, people, being their true authentic self, and you can do that through a performance. Yeah, you might be playing a character, but you can still be that true authentic version of yourself, and people feel that. You know what I mean? It's not a caricature, so to speak. But one thing I wanted to ask you was, so like, how did the Resident Evil audition even come about? Like, was it via an agent, or what happened?
I submitted myself. I submitted myself on a site called Actors Access, like breakdowns, right?
Oh, did you?
I put my submission in. I said I'm a giant fan, would love the opportunity. I was lucky enough to get that audition, and came in, and I had to fight off about 60 other guys for the role, and my essence was right.
That's incredible. How many auditions did you go through then? How many callbacks and things were there for it?
There were probably 3 total. And they just kept testing with the physicality, different scenes. The director was in the second session, and then I got the call one day, and they offered me the role, and I was freaked out. I had to sit down.
What did that feel like?
My knees were jello, and you got to understand, Resident Evil has been my favorite franchise since 1998, and as an actor, you don't often get to work on your favorite franchises. You kind of take what you're given, right?
Incredible.
It came around. And what helped is that I was a fan, because I knew the character. I played all his games in the past. I knew the whole universe. I knew all the characters, all the relationships, everything I knew. And so it was kind of like going home for me,
Oh.
I still remember when the first Resident Evil came out on PlayStation 1. I still remember the day I got it with the box. I don't know what the disc was like in America, but in the UK it was a white disc with an eyeball. Was that the same for you? Can you remember?
Maybe a little different. But I literally just got the one. Hold on, guys. I want to show you something. I was just in Japan, and I found this PlayStation 1. See that?
Oh, no way.
This is for PlayStation 1 Biohazard. This is Resident Evil 1, the disc for play. Yeah, so I'm never going to open this.
No way.
I got Biohazard 2 and
Wow.
Biohazard 3 on PlayStation 1.
I still remember to this day when the game came out. Well, I used to, because when I was a kid, I used to buy all the PlayStation magazines, all of them, even the multi-format ones, and every month, some of them came with the discs, and I'd love playing them. And then anyway, eventually the Resident Evil demo came out, and I played it, and I just remember thinking like how great it was, and I managed to get a copy of the Japanese version. And obviously you can't read all the text and everything, but just to get a feel for the game. But I just couldn't wait for the English version to come out, and just that eerie music. It was so ahead of its time. It was just everything about it. Now you look back at it, it's like some of the. I was talking to someone recently about the voice acting it. They'd be like, "Where's Barry? Where's Jill? Wherever it was."
Hey, you just did a good American accent. You can do accents, Michael. Where's Barry? Yeah,
Nick. That's as good as it gets.
He's going to quote you now. That's going to be everywhere.
you were almost a Jill sandwich.
Oh, Barry!
That was too close. You were almost a Jill sandwich.
You're right.
Yeah,
They're funny. Funny lines back then.
yeah. I'm sorry, but she's probably. And then that's it. I still remember it like it was. I was playing it 10 minutes
That's
ago.
so nice.
Absolutely adored it all.
Yeah.
And then obviously when the second one came out, did you ever see the? Because this is what I was going to say about the magazines. Because I used to look to see what all the new stuff was that was coming out, and I used to to keep updated. And when I first saw that Resident Evil 2 was coming out, they made a version of it up to about 75-80%, and then they binned it and then rebuilt it, which is the version that we know now on PS1. And I remember just seeing all the pictures, and it was like all the police station. It was very blue. I remember seeing like the hue of all the images was very blue.
Yeah.
And I just remember, I still think to this day, I think the Resident Evil 2 on PS1, along with Metal Gear Solid and probably Final Fantasy 7 and maybe Gran Turismo, I think they were quite ahead of the time, like for what they produced on that system.
Oh, they were. Seven was the longest game that I ever played at that time, and that actually took the cake for many, probably more than 2 decades for me. And then I started to get into longer games now. But Final Fantasy 7 took me about 110 hours to do everything, and I had the strategy guide. So I used to look at all the guides when I played these games. But yeah, Resident Evil 2, Silent Hill, Final Fantasy 7. Those
God.
games changed, really, really made me fall in love with the next gen gaming systems, because I grew up with Nintendo and Super Nintendo and GameCube, but PS1 was they had so many bangers on it.
It was literally the pinnacle of gaming. If you were lucky enough to be about 10 or 11 years old or thereabouts when the PS1 came out, I think that was the golden years.
Yeah, I was about 13. 12 to 14 during that time. And yeah, I got it Twisted Metal, got into those games, Cool Borders. So I had a huge love of that stuff, and then I just played the crap out of those. But then college came around, college and high school, and I just got into a lot of different hobbies. But then I came back to video games hardcore, I would say in the past 15 years.
Jen, what about you? Did you play games much growing up?
No, not a great deal. I mean, the ones I did play were nothing like the ones you're describing. They were the really cute. There's a Bubble Bobble, was one of my favourites on the Amiga.
Yeah, I love it. That's a good one. That's a classic.
I really loved it. But I can still, even though I wasn't a massive gamer, I can almost taste it, the emotion of that, of playing that and the excitement. I think that's why games are so magical, aren't they? Hearing you guys talk about it, it's visceral, that sensation.
Nick, when you just mentioned about Silent Hill, a classic that I forgot, I still remember. I used to get really freaked out, even with Resident Evil. To be fair, there were times when the music, because I don't like being jump scared, and the new games
can't deal with it.
definitely not the ones to play if you don't like being jump scared. But when I was a kid, sometimes when the music was getting unsettling in Resident Evil, or if it was in Silent Hill, there was a bell or a ringing sound on your radio when you got close to an enemy. Is that right?
Oh, well, so yes, it was white static noise.
That's right. Yeah.
When you got close, and when that would happen, yes, it would freak you out. You're like, oh my God, I'm gonna have to defend myself. And then when the siren went off in the town, you knew that wherever you were, whatever building you were in, was about to turn into a hellscape. And I got it. Just it gave me such anxiety that I was addicted to. I was addicted to it though, and that's why I love horror. I love how it affects me.
Yeah.
The adrenaline. I like surviving.
It's too much for
I
me.
like.
It's too much.
It's not for everyone.
When those moments.
No, because it feels that it infects the rest of my life. Like then I'm walking around feeling like I'm in the horror, and like you go anywhere and you're like checking rooms and like in the booth and under beds, and you know it's like my whole life now is like part of it. I can't deal with it. It's too much.
When I was playing ththose, particularly like Silent Hill, and I hear that static noise, and Resi 2 to be fair as well, because Resi 2 with the lickers, because with the one you had the hunters towards the end of the game and they could jump out, but I thought the lickers were worse because they would just spring on you so quick. So I was in a perpetual state of anxiety all the time. And then what I'd do is if I knew something was coming up, I'd turn the radio up louder. So I had this like background music which made me feel a little bit more settled, and it'll keep me going through the game. But then I remember I played when when Resident Evil 7 came out. I still haven't played Resident Evil 7 all the way through, and
that's criminal.
I know. I played the demo, and I remember there was a scene in the demo that I played where you go into this room, it's very dark, and then you turn around and you just see the door is open ajar a little bit, and this like 8-foot figure just walks past, and I was like, no, forget it, I'm not doing it. Like, I don't think my heart's strong enough today.
You gotta try 7 all the way through. It's one of the scariest in the franchise, I think.
Well, to be fair, sometimes if there's a game... Sorry, Joe, I'll wrap. I was going to say, sometimes if there's a game... The last scary game that I finished... I'm going to start Requiem soon. But the last game that I finished that I really enjoyed was the Dead Space remake. I really enjoyed that.
That was a great game.
I thought that was good.
Great game, yeah.
I really enjoyed that.
Stellar, actually. Really well done.
Yeah, but sometimes if there's a game that I would like to get into but I've not got the time, if I'm really interested in it, sometimes I'll stick one of the YouTubers on that plays through it because I like the commentary, and I'll just like catch up a little bit so I understand what the game's about, and then I'll finish it when I get the time myself. So sometimes that can be helpful. But sorry, Jen, what were you going to say?
No, I was going to move on to that and just say, like, obviously it's such a massive franchise. Like, has your life changed? I'm assuming so. Like, and how has it changed since you landed that role and since you could tell people about it and it's come out and things?
Well, the franchise put me on the map. You know, I think gaming in general is just becoming exponentially more popular every year as a pastime of young people, right? It's like they watch anime, they play video games, they're going to the movies less and less. It's like just it's a hobby that I'm happy has grown into what it is, because when I was starting out back in the Nintendo days in the 90s, it was, you know, a few people played games and stuff. We were kind of dorks and nerds and whatever. Now it's now it's just so mainstream that first of all, that makes me happy. But now with Resident Evil, it also makes me happy that the franchise is still going 30 years later. That makes that, you know, that would have made the kid in me really happy to know. And then the fact that I'm in it, yes, it's changed my life. It opened a lot of doors for me. It gives you kind of like that name recognition. It's like, oh yes, I'm in Resident Evil. And even if you don't play the games, you've heard of this franchise. If you're over, if you're over 20 years old, you know what it is. It's a household name. It's one of those. It's like, you know, Mission Impossible. It's like Indiana Jones. People just know about it. And so, of course, it's changed my life. It's taken my career to different levels, and it's a franchise that keeps on giving because, first and foremost, I'm a fan, right? And even when I play these games, I get asked a lot that when I play my own games, does my voice distract me? And the honest answer is no, because I am focused on one thing and one thing only: surviving and getting through that next mission. And so that's where my mind is going. And then maybe like play through number 2 or 3. That's when I nitpick. I'm like, oh, why'd they use that take? But
yeah.
You know, but no, I'm just in love with it. You know, I've been in love, and you guys got to play Requiem at some point.
I've got it. I'm going to try and start it in July.
Have you played RE2 Remake?
I've done it for. I've done both endings for both characters. I still love it. That's one of my. I think that remake. I heard a rumor they're going to do number 1 remake. I know Veronica's have just been remade, which I'm looking forward to playing. That I did that on the Dreamcast. But yeah, the RE2 remake, I did it 4 times.
Okay.
Because Jen doesn't know. So basically, Jen, what happens is each character has 2 endings.
Yeah.
So you do like each character's got an A/B version. So you got to do like say Leon A, Claire B. And vice versa. That's how like the order you do it, and that way you've kind of
that's very cool.
The story.
So it keeps it alive. You keep going back for more. Yeah.
But it must have been a weird feeling, like, because obviously if you then when you landed the role for RE2, like it's not just Resident Evil, it's flipping Leon Kennedy. And not only that, you then yourself being a fan of the game.
Yeah.
And then I've read Paul Mercier, the previous voice actor for Leon. He was someone that you talked to about it all.
Yeah, he's a friend of mine now, and he agreed to coach me after Resident Evil 2 remake. I just just for voiceover training in general. I can pick a random person or I can pick one of my heroes, and I reached out to him. He doesn't really coach much anymore, but he did agree to just train me, and we just had a bunch of one-on-one sessions, and we just got down to the basics, the breath work of it all, just all kinds of voice acting 101, starting from the beginning again, just to become a better performer. And that guy is he's legendary. He's so in control of this instrument, and I'm still learning myself because I'm more of a physical actor who came into voiceover kind of through like the back door with motion capture.
Was that a big learning curve then in terms of the voice work alongside it? Because obviously you're more familiar with the physicality.
It is totally, because starting on camera, you learn to say a lot with your body language.
Yeah,
you learn to say a lot without words, which doesn't really translate to the people listening to this podcast, as you guys know. So it was actually, sometimes I wish maybe I had started as a voice actor, but you know what? I don't live with regrets. But it's like, give you an example. In college, I majored in communication studies. It's, we learned how to communicate more effectively as humans. We went through the whole ringer: visual communication, nonverbal communication, persuasion, rhetoric, all that speech giving, all that stuff. And the nonverbal stuff is very interesting to me. And that's when I started to hone in and pay attention to people. When you do people watch, look at what they're saying with your body. Even if they're too far away for you to hear what they're saying, you can usually tell the vibe of a conversation by just looking at them.
Yeah, so true.
So that's kind of where that has heavily inspired my acting style on camera, but you cannot do that with a microphone. So you have to come up with other ways to convey the entire message with the voice and the sounds. Certain nonverbals do bleed into that, like your cadence of speech. Cadence is considered nonverbal communication. Pauses say a lot. Your breath work says a lot, and how you deliver stuff. So I'm just kind of building that style with voiceover now.
So when you're doing the mocap stuff, do they typically ask you to perform all the lines while you're doing the physical actions, and then you do it again in voiceover to make it more? How do they balance it? Because I wondered if maybe sometimes when you see the behind the scenes stuff, you got the actors all in the mocap and they're performing the lines, they're doing the scenes. But I didn't know if they keep those versions in case you're a bit breathless or whatever, and you get them to dub yourself almost.
No, they try to keep that performance 100% of the time. Once in a while, you've got to pick up a line if there was like a cut in the audio or something, but they want that to be the most authentic way to do it. So the cut scenes are all on the day in the scene, and then everything else, the in-game stuff. So when the player is controlling the character, all that stuff is said in the voiceover booth separately on a different day.
Yeah.
Right. And Leon's quite well known for his little quirky one-liners.
Yeah.
So I was curious about how did you approach that? Did you have your own sort of ideas with what you think would work, or was it all like how much freedom did you have with it?
Well, we kind of just rolled with it. So we started doing that in RE4 remake, especially because the tone of that game was very campy, fun action movie, right? 80s action movie, I should say. And that's a style in itself. So we started to play with a lot of fun lines in RE4 remake because he had some funny ones in the original 21 years ago. And we just wanted to keep that spirit alive. And so we kept some of the original lines. We added our own. And I got to come up with a lot in that. And right then is when you start to shape your version of this character moving forward. At that point, Capcom trusted me more with the character. They knew that I knew what had to be done. I knew the assignment, and I respect the hell out of the character. And then so when 9 rolls around and we start to get into production, I did have those questions for them. I said, hey, this guy is now 25 years older. What do you want his vibe to be like? We've never seen this version of him. Do you want him to still be jokey, a little bit more badass, a bit more subdued? And they said, you know what? Let's find a balance of the one-liners, and he's also very serious because he's going back to the place, Raccoon City, where his his life began. I mean, you know, the root of all of his PTSD. It kind of created him. Raccoon City created Leon Kennedy, and he's going back there to face those demons. So we played with like heaviness and a lot of dramatic stuff, and you'll see when you play, Michael, and maybe if you watch, Jen. I don't think you'll play, but
Like this, behind my hands, behind my, yeah.
maybe you can watch Michael play, but you'll see a good mix of it all. And at this point, they said, we know that you know the character, and so let's just play with a lot of things and see what feels right. And so we collaborated together, Capcom and myself, and the performance director Kate Saxon, and we created this version of Leon. It was very fun, and people are liking them. So I'm just happy. I was a little nervous, but I'm happy that people are liking this older version.
Yeah, it must be
Caught on.
terrifying doing that.
It was. I had a lot of anxiety going into this one because it wasn't a remake. It wasn't kind of like looking at a tone of something and saying, "All right, let's go for it," and you know, revisit that. This was uncharted territory, and I'm ecstatic that it's getting such good reception.
Do you know what? Yeah, that's such a good point. I didn't really think too deeply about that, but you're totally right, because the first two, they were reimagines of characters that have already existed, but this was your chance to be able to curate your version of Leon Kennedy. And
the one thing I did have, though, is I could draw from a lot of source material. So Leon has been in maybe a total of maybe 6 or 7 games total. He's been in the CGI movies. Like, we know a lot about this guy, and so I kind of just took everything.
Well,
What's that?
Sorry to interrupt. You voiced the CGI movie, didn't you?
Only one. It was a Netflix series called Infinite Darkness, and it was Matthew Mercer who voiced the most recent CG movies. So I took everything that I knew and baked it all into this new version of Leon.
But as well, also, I suppose the character has evolved, hasn't it? Like, so from Resident Evil 2 to number 4, and then obviously this number 9, where he is a bit older and mature. It wasn't just like there was more to it. You had to age him. You had to add more, I don't know, depth to him. Is that maybe the right word? So, like, what was your process like? Get the voice a little bit deeper, bit more of a lower tone all the way through, just to age him in that way, give him a bit more of a gravelly feel.
Yeah, the voice is the first thing that had to change for me, and I had to play with that a lot. That was really challenging. Requiem was the hardest version of Leon I voiced, because it's just very unnatural to me. But then, I play again with cadence, the way that he speaks. Even like how long it takes you to respond as a character to things.
Sherry, I'm in RPD.
It's been a while since you've been back there.
Yeah.
In RE2, when he's young and excitable, something jumps out at me. It's like, oh my god, holy shit!
What the hell? Holy shit!
Yeah.
In Requiem, you might stare at that for a second and be like, fuck.
You've got to be shitting me. Oh, I miss our Raccoon City hospitality.
That says a lot for age, and like that says I've been here before, and so you got to think about all of that. Then there's the body language with the PCAP that I could suggest a lot of things. The way that he moves, he's not so springy. He's tough as nails and strong, but he's not springy. It's more like everything's more grounded and weighted. Everything, the mentality of the guy, and yeah, it was a really fun and good challenge. Very, very tough version of the guy to play.
But I think we were saying before, I think one thing that I thought was excellent, so when the trailer came out, I think it was June last year.
Yeah.
Trailer came out, everyone's excited, the news was buzzing that there was going to be a new RE game. Trailer drops. And then at the Game Awards, there was the Leon reveal, and everyone just lost their shit.
I was in the room for
obviously,
that. I went to the Game Awards to celebrate my friends, and I was in the crowd to hear that reaction, and
Did you know it's happening?
It gave me goosebumps. Yeah, I did.
Oh man, I just can't, like, obviously with what you're saying before about you're creating this character. He's got a heck of this character has his own fans. People who they love these characters and they bond to them. you've not done your own version. So you're saying before, like, there was a bit of nervousness about, how people are going to react to your version, and then to hear that reaction just must have been incredible.
Yeah.
What the thing is, you can see online though, what you have got an incredible fan base. Like, I've seen some people commenting on some of the videos a couple of days ago, and they were like, "Just whatever Nick's in, I'm going to play it. Whatever Nick's in, I'm going to watch it." Like,
It makes me feel good, man, dude.
I
mean, it's just nice to it's just nice to know that people are happy with my, like, I chose this path, and it's my life's work. It's what I choose to do with my time, and I'm just happy that it impacts so many people in a positive way. But I'm lucky because I play a character who is very inspirational and motivational. He has so many good qualities as a human, as a zombie hunter, but it's people play these games and they survive through hardships in these games. It's very metaphorical. And I'm just really lucky to play that type of guy. I could have been cast as like a asshole villain. That's, those roles are important too,
but for different reasons. Yeah.
Exactly. But so I think it's just like, this was like striking lightning in a bottle for me. And it's just like life coming full circle and things just lining up the way they needed to. That was the universe nudging me.
Yeah.
It was the universe nudging me into a
together.
direction. And it's like, you need to go in this direction. And I listened, I had my eyes open, and I just followed it. I followed that instinct and the impulse.
I think that's really encouraging because we know a lot of people listening, lots of people are particularly interested in playing characters in games and being in games. And I think it's not easy. It's not an easy industry. And I think there's something really encouraging about that. Just keep working hard, keep building these skills, and, what's meant to happen will come to you. And I think it's really
I as well. Sorry, go on.
I just want to say on that note, before we move on, is I just want to say that people, as you audition for these characters, a lot of games are getting so much more grounded with their storytelling, that more realistic, more immersive. And I guess no matter who you're auditioning for, really, really, really find the truth in it from you. Even if it is a villain or a hero or whatever, side character, find the truth in it, because that's the best chance you have at booking it, and it's the best chance you have at making an impact and making someone feel something from your performance. If you can draw from yourself, right? There's stuff that you've been through that no one else has. Find a way to bake that into your work, your daily auditions. That's what's going to resonate more than anything else.
Absolutely.
That's great advice.
Especially in this day and age. Well, now the video games are only becoming more immersive, more interactive.
Right, yes.
They're only going to get better and better. I mean, look where they are now. They're only going to keep improving. I can't really imagine where gaming will go in the next 10 years.
Who knows?
I'm sure, obviously, as technology improves, there will be ways just to make it even more interactive, make you feel more part of the game. But what I was going to say was, the biggest component in all of that, like, a game can look pretty and it can play smooth, but it's the characters and the performances that people buy into. That's what makes them feel something. And like you say, being, giving you all, making those people feel real, making the people playing the game feel something, that is single-handedly what makes the biggest difference. And I think it's just such an important part of the craft. Like, it's just bringing that authentic self to a role, making people feel something. That's why this character you've created for Leon has got such a huge following. I mean, in a short space of time, the online, I'll say applause, but like the appreciation you've had online for this character has just been absolutely phenomenal, and you deserve it. I mean, I've not played the game, but I've seen the trailers, I've seen all the stuff. It's excellent, and that like aging him the way you've done it, and obviously the way you're saying with the performance capture, like making him move a bit slower, certain mannerisms, etc. They all complement each other. It makes it all more believable, and therefore the people playing it believe it and feel they can relate to it a bit more. So yeah,
But I got to give a shout out. I always have to do this. I didn't create the character of Leon. I stepped into his shoes late in the game. Yeah. And yes, I've portrayed him 4 times, but I have, like, honestly, genuinely, I've stood on the shoulders of these giants who made the character what he is. He's been portrayed by maybe 4 actors before me. And it was Capcom who created such a legendary character with the best hair in all of gaming. And he will always have that. But you know what I mean? Like, you got to give credit where credit's due. I stepped in and
really nice,
I took over some responsibility, and I do love the character with all my heart. And I just want to do him justice. But, it wasn't me who started that.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that is a very fair point.
It's a very good
I
point.
take it.
Oh,
Just
so are
one-
you... Sorry, Michael.
No, just one final thing I wanted to ask was, because you do motion capture and stuff, do you find, do you get called in often for games just to do the performance side of things because of your abilities? Or is it only like whether you're part of the game with speaking roles, do you do performance capture, or do you get brought in just to do the motions?
No, I have vastly more credits on video games with just motion capture, and that's why a lot of people don't know that. So all those franchises you listed off before, including Dead Space, yeah, I get hired to do motion capture, just body movements, because these games need millions of bodies. And yeah, I've done, because I can move with firearms. I've done a lot, maybe like 6 AAA military games, including Medal of Honor, Call of Duty, Battlefield. So yeah, I get called in to do stuff like that. In Medal of Honor, I played maybe like a couple hundred Nazis that you kill. So when you shoot them and they die, that's me falling over and going.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun. Love it. I mean, Dead Space, I was honored to be asked to do some of the motion capture for Isaac Clarke, for the vertical slice, which is like the very, very initial shooting, so they can show the team the vision. And they're like, do you like the vision? Okay, let's make the game. So yeah, I did some early scenes on Dead Space, and that was cool because I grew up with that franchise. PlayStation. And yeah, so it's the body. That's me. That's me being a physical actor working in games in a different capacity, and I love that equally. Get me in a suit, and I'll do anything.
Yeah. Did you say you did the mocap for Battlefield?
Some of it. So
Some of it. Yeah.
You'll see me in some of like the melee kills, some of the reload animations I did, maybe a scene or two. I forget exactly when. It was probably a little while ago, but yeah, Battlefield, actually Battlefield 2042, that one that came out like quite a few years ago.
Yeah, I mention it again is because I did some emotes for Battlefield last year.
Cool.
I think it was literally just the vocalized, dying and things. So none of the mocap, but just yeah, that was a lot of fun.
I do think though as well, like, because I was saying before about how the way games are developing all the time, and I do think actually having I see online now, I see a lot more voice actors trying to get signed up for mocap training days and experience and stuff, and I do actually think, fast forward in trying to sort of envision where the industry is in the next 5-10 years, not every game is going to need mocap actors. Certainly your AAAs, they usually lean on it. But I do think having that maybe under your belt is I mean, it's always been important, but I think it's going to be more important over the next few years as games become more immersive, more interactive, and the process of making games, maybe they will use voice actors physically as well as just their voice. You know what I mean? So
I think so. Think about Baldur's Gate and stuff. That's all done performance capture, and like there's such a push towards that.
It really depends on studio.
Yeah,
but not every game. I would be curious to know what the ratio is of AAA games that require the motion capture versus just straight up animation. It depends on the style of the game. But if you're going for like modern day graphics, that's usually all motion capture and PCAP.
Yeah.
So I guess what I'm saying is for you voice actors who might want to get into that, start training. Take movement classes. Maybe take some like initial stunt classes. Start training with any kind of physicality, any kind of specialty. Just know how your body moves. Take some theater classes. Theater is really, really helpful because you get loose with your body, and you learn how to convey the message with your body, not just your vocal cords. And that's what you need. I get asked a lot once in a while. A great talented voice actor friend of mine will get a rare PCAP audition, and they want you to film it like a TV and film audition. And some of them, they don't know what to do, and they're like, well, where do I put my hands? And it's like, hey, that's just movement. That's just acting. Theater can help you with that. So there's so many like transferable skills in all of this. People always say, and you probably heard this, guys, like they're like, hey, how do I become a voice actor? How do I become a voice actor? First thing I say to them, drop voice out of that phrase. You want to be an actor. Act.
So true.
Read books, get on stage, audition, take classes, train, watch YouTube videos. Like, you can learn so much, and it's all going to help voice acting.
It's so
a
true.
really good point.
It is like one of the most common things you get asked, and I think sometimes, in my experience, there's only probably a relatively small percentage of people who are actually serious about it. Quite often, people want the answer or a shortcut, and it's like, how to become a voice actor. And when you explain that, well, actually, it's quite a long road, and you need to do this, and you need to do that, most people get put off by that. But there are some who, okay, what would you recommend I go to do this? And I always try and help people. Whoever wants to help, I will always gladly help them if I know they're definitely serious. And that is it. It's like, yeah, get to acting school. Go to...
I think that's the biggest thing. Like any of the casting directors we've spoken to, and I think even more with AI and everything now, it's just to be a better actor. I think that is one of the best things you can do for your career is practice your craft.
Yeah, like you said, with AI, like at the moment, we've seen like a massive pushback on AI content in our industry. Like last year, people were sort of flapping a little bit that, oh, it's going to take over. And then just like Amazon had loads of shows, well, I say loads, but 2 or 3 shows cancelled, massive pushback. We've had some game studios come out. I can't remember off the top of my head who it is, but they're saying they won't use AI voices. Rockstar said they won't use any AI voices in GTA 6. So, it's because, yes, some of these creations, digital creations, yes, they can maybe be cheaper on the surface, but they lack 2 important qualities. Number 1, you can't direct an AI voice. And number 2, human beings don't feel anything emotionally from an AI-generated piece of content. And because there is now a pushback where there's been so much AI slop, as they sometimes call it, because there feels like there's quite a big pushback against it, now more than ever, if you are into voice acting, double down on your craft, because people are feeling and wanting that human connection and human emotion through performances more than ever. So that's why I would say, if you're looking to get into stuff like that, get into the acting side of it, make people feel something, you know.
Well said.
One final thing, Jenny, is there anything you wanted to, anything else to ask? There's just one final thing.
Well, just kind of, what's next? What are you thinking? Like, have you got any plans that you can share with us that you want to try and achieve, or are you just kind of enjoying riding this wave at the moment?
I got a million plans. I have so many. I still have so many different interests and passions and hobbies. And I need to get back to some of that. You know, I haven't touched a wood project in 5 months. That makes me kind of sad. That's a big part of me is wood.
So you're a master builder, is that right?
This kind of leans onto what I was going to ask about, but go on.
Because you were on the show The Fixers or something, is that right?
Yeah, I've been building for 25 years, and because I don't pursue it professionally, I don't go out and build houses for people. I can't do that. That's I do small projects, small manageable, like small furniture, art pieces. I built my kitchen table I'm staring at. I built my bar. So that I want to get back to that. It makes me feel very grounded and connected to who I am.
I can imagine.
I want to get back to my graphite art. I do thoroughly enjoy traveling. I have a lot of conventions coming up, so I'll be meeting thousands of fans, and I love that because, you know, it's like I love meeting new people, and I'm just one of them. I'm just a fan, and so it feels like I'm with like a trillion friends, right? So I'm going to be doing a lot of that. Might be going to Gamescom in Germany in a couple months. I'll be coming to your neck of the woods. I'll be at MCM London in October, so a lot of fun travel coming up. And just taking it day by day, having a little bit more balance. I'm forcing a little bit more balance, taking care of myself mentally, physically. There's a billion things I'm looking forward to right now.
That's amazing, and good for you for taking that time.
I got to because
it's
you do.
It's what a hell of a journey you're on, and you know, and it looks like it's not slowing down, and you know, all the luck in the world to you for all your future endeavours, because. It's been fun seeing how things have developed over the period of time, and you know, from where you are now, and obviously projects I know obviously you won't be able to talk about, but obviously stuff that will be coming out in the future that we'll be looking forward to. So so Nick, thank you so much for your time today. I really, really, really appreciate it, and it's been great to get to know you a bit better, learn more about your story and your journey, and just sort of your headspace about, you know, the work ethic and how you got here. It's been really interesting to learn.
And
about.
I think that's so as well, like being like an everyday voice actor. I think there's like one role can really change everything, can't it? So I think if people just keep going for it, just don't give up, just keep going for it. You never know what might happen.
That's really good advice, and I really appreciate you guys taking the interest and learning more about me. I'm always honored when people reach out, and so thank you. I hope the episode does well. I hope I said a few things that make sense to anybody, but
Everyone's going to be scribbling down notes, don't worry.
well, but like I said, the biggest thing I want people to take out of it is that, like, yes, keep going after it if you really want to do this. Train hard, work hard. It's not an easy industry, but it's a high risk, high reward industry, and I'm living, breathing proof of that. Put myself out there, and I landed a really huge role early on, and it's still paying dividends. And you never know where a little role is going to take you. So, thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate it, and take care to all the listeners. Thank you so much.
Yeah, that's a perfect way to end it. Thanks so much, Nick. Really appreciate
everyone.
it. Thanks for everyone for jumping on this episode, and we'll catch you on the next one. Cheers,
See you later.
folks.
Bye.
See you now.